Penn Argyl High School, the site today for Colonial League football action. D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Hi and welcome, everyone. Al DiCarlo alongside Matt Avancho. Glad you could join us here for this matchup. Suddenly I coming in with a record of 6-1, and Penn Argyl coming in with a record of 2-5 overall. Again, our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. And, Matt, as we look at this matchup, suddenly with that loss last week, John Toman in his 14th year, obviously excited about this game coming up.
He is, and he wants to get back to the running game. He felt, going against Northwestern last week, they were a physical team, something they haven't really seen so much this season. So it took a toll on their team physically throughout the game, and then just missing extra points that cost them the game. So he wants to get back to basics. He said the group was ready to go. They were ready to get back to work after that game, and they're going to rely a lot on Asher Smith, the senior tailback, who has over 1,200 yards rushing this season with 21 touchdowns. He's going to have to do a lot today as they try to establish the run game again. And
for Penn Argyl, you mentioned Asher Smith, but for Penn Argyl, the Green Knights, John Smith in his second year as the head coach, he's 5-12 overall. They're coming off a loss 63-14 over Notre Dame. They've lost 3 of their last thoughts of the Green Knights.
And I think for the Green Knights, it's just a matter of staying healthy. They've had quite a few injuries lately, and they're still mounting up with some different key players out. They just need to get back to basics. And Coach Smith said, how great this group has been, how their attitude's been positive the whole time. They work each week, and they're going to rely a lot on Gavin Averman. Ammerman, the junior running back. He does it all. He throws the ball. He runs the ball, really accounting for a lot of their offense for Penn Argyl, and he's going to have that happen, but then also uses compliments as well.
So Averman, 43 through the air and 231 on the ground. He has totaled 11 touchdowns on the season. And for Asher Smith, as mentioned, already 21 touchdowns on the year. Suddenly, the Spartans at 6-1. The Green Knights at Penn Argyl 5, and with that, we pause and honor America with the playing of our national anthem. All right, with that, and we go down to the field, and we have our 2 student reporters down the field, and Jaden and Anthony Sparrow.
Thanks, Sal. I'm here with Jaden. I had the chance to talk to Coach Toman for Southern Lehigh, and he said that they continue to push their agenda. They want to keep running the ball even after their loss to Northwestern last week. He wants to do much of the same. These guys are ready to come out here and bounce back against this Penn Argyl team, and we're going to see what they're going to be able to do today.
And I talked to Smith, and we have dealing with a lot of injuries today. There's 7 guys injured. I'm looking forward to just keep running the ball, keep focused, and come out there. Looking forward to the next 2 games, three games left in the season, and they just want to have a good adversity, good teamwork. It's like a brotherhood. That's what Smith said. It's like a brotherhood out there, and you're just gonna keep working hard, and that's all we gotta do. We keep winning the game. So back up to you, Al.
All right, guys, thanks a lot down there. And they were talking about brotherhood. Those 2 guys down in the field are cousins, and they will be with us throughout the afternoon for the contest between Penn Argyl and Southern Lehigh. Again, Southern Lehigh with a record of 6-1, Penn Argyl with a record of 2-5, and we'll see what happens here on the opening kickoff of this game between these 2 teams. And obviously, when you look at it on paper, it has a whole spin to be on Southern Lehigh, but we've seen, some drastic things happen throughout the years as well.
We have, and I think we saw it happen last night where things were going in. Different things happen out there in the Lehigh Valley. Just a lot of parity in the Colonial League, a lot of parity in Lehigh Valley football where there's just a lot. With a lot of teams, it doesn't matter. Just any given day can happen. Any given day, whatever team shows up and plays the best with the fewest number of mistakes, they're the team that's going to come out on top.
And, you look at Penn Argyl, not only are they don't have that many players on the team in the first start, but some injuries, it kind of hurts them, coming into this game. Some big injuries, including their starting kicker, who got hurt in the soccer game the other night. So they will be out be without their starting kicker today in Lucas Magipinto. So that's another big concern for them.
And I think it's just, it's one of those things a lot of these small school coaches deal with week in and week out. You get one injury, that then amounts to moving 2, 3, 4 guys around to just kind of solidify everything. They don't have the luxury of the bigger schools with mass numbers of players on the roster. They have a little bit creative, and we're going to see somebody coming. We're going to see number 50 kicking for them, Dennis Canadiev, and we'll get a good look also at some other youthful guys, and that's something Coach Smith said. Their freshman and sophomore class is just a little bit smaller, so they're missing a lot of those JV opportunities.
And we are underway, and that is fielded right at the 1-yard line by Connor Fair. And Fair gets up towards the 15, and now will trek right around the 18-yard line as we'll see the Penn Argyl Green Knights offense come out to the field for the first time today.
And you're going to see a little bit different style of offense. Penn Argyl's going to come out. They have a lot of multiple sets, but also a lot of throwbacks to the single wing. And what can happen there is they try to get the defense misaligned and then take advantage of some gaps using their offensive line as a strength.
Opening quarter. And again, they go with the single wing, and here's Connor Fair, nowhere to go. A lot of white jerseys making their way in.
We're going to see a swarming defense out of Southern Lehigh, where they're going to just attack the line of scrimmage and attack this Penn Argyl, try to make that Penn Argyl offense become one-dimensional.
So no gain there. Ball sits at the 18-yard line. We are underway here from Penn Argyl with the Spartans again checking in with a record of 6-1. Penn Argyl with a record of 2-5. Gavin Ammerman with his first carry of the game.
And you get a good look there at how Penn Argyl wants to try to outnumber you to the ball side, to where they're trying to run the ball. And Southern Lehigh, if they need to counteract that with coming at them and setting the edge and not letting them get outside, not letting them find any lanes, and then closing that down with the rest of their defenders coming to make the tackles.
So 3rd down and 10. The ball still sits at the 18-yard line. Opening possession of the game. Now looking to throw is Ammerman, and has a receiver wide open downfield, and he'll connect inside the 50 down to about the 41-yard line. A perfectly designed pass as they get huge yards down to Colin McKee.
Credit Colin McKee. He does a great job adjusting that ball. He was running a corner route, and Ammerman throws off balance, able to find him, and then gets him a nice ball, and he makes a great catch contested, but just adjusting to the ball is something he was able to do for Penn Argyl.
So a huge play in the opening part of this game. On the pass play to Colin McKegg. McKegg, a 5'11", 165-pound junior.
Last stop for Southern Lehigh was made by number 59, Peyton Elliott. He shoots through from his linebacker spot. The linebacker is going to be key for the Southern Lehigh defense if they need to slow down this Penn Argyl rushing attack. They have 6-7 linemen on the field against the 4 defensive linemen of Southern Lehigh. So if the linebackers can be active and make tackles, then defensively they can be successful.
On the ground again as they continue to move forward. Connor Fair with another carry.
Nice setup by Penn Argyl with the rushing attack coming play side, a few plays in a row. And this time they bring a counter with Connor Fair coming back from his wingback spot. But staying home for Southern Lehigh was number 55, his defensive end, Alex Schaefer. Fights off a block and then makes the tackle for a short gain.
3rd down and 6. To the near side, has some space, pushes forward, and gets pushed out of bounds, but a solid run there by Antonio Rito. So Rito will move the chains, and right now a good thing, and when we talk about Penargil, the good thing for Penargil and the Green Knights is, the opportunity for, to take some time off the clock and move it forward.
And not only that, offensively they're building some confidence. They're seeing that they're able to run the ball and able to do things against this Southern Lehigh defense. Rito that time runs the same play that they ran to play before with the counter to Fair, but this time he keeps it and able to pick up the first down yardage, like you said.
So 1st and 10 from the 28. Straight run as we expect throughout the afternoon, and that's Ameren again, but right now the offensive line creating some holes.
They are. They're opening up a lot of holes up front, and you have to credit them because they're going against a very successful Southern Lehigh defense. They've had success all throughout the year, not giving up a lot of points other than last week's game versus Northwestern Lehigh. So a great start in this game for Penargil.
From the 17, 7:50 on the clock. Rito will check that off and give it to Gabriel Hahn, but Hahn nowhere to go. And with that, will bring up a 2nd down.
Hahn is one of the up backs. They sometimes call him the sniffer back. He sits behind the line of scrimmage, behind the offensive lineman. That time he turns around, takes the handoff. One thing you need to watch out for is when he does turn around, as they were bringing Ammerman across this backfield, he'll pitch the ball back out to him for just another wrinkle on that play.
So just like that, we approach the 7-minute mark. 2nd down and 10 from the 17. Looking to throw, back of the end zone, and that one is a touchdown. 17-yard touchdown into the hands of Colin McKeag.
And that was just a straight fade pattern. He's rolling out. McKeag's running a go route down the sideline, and he does a nice job of adjusting to the ball again, but it's the defender that does not adjust to the ball, and that allows McKeag to catch the ball for the touchdown. What a great opening drive for Penargil.
Comes with 7 minutes on the clock.
And this is going to be interesting. Al, we talked to Coach Smith before the game, and he mentioned, as you mentioned, not having a kicker. He jokingly said, we'll just go for 2 all the time, so we're going to get a good look to see if he was telling us the truth or not.
Are you saying coaches do not?
I think we sometimes try to change the media.
Well, they are indeed going for 2. Again, they lost their kicker to a soccer game, and quick dive forward. Thought he had it initially and didn't get down to it. It was kind of fair on the carry, but he's going to mark short, I believe. So no 2-point conversion, 6-0.
No 2-point conversion, but they're fortunate that there was not a penalty. They only had 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. They were short a guy on the field for that play.
It fails. The score, Penargil 6 and Southern Lehigh nothing.
And Matt, obviously the point, people watching at home is what we're talking about. When you don't have your kicker, it changes your whole mindset of everything.
It does. It changes the way you kick off. It changes, it affects the way you play defense. It affects the way, you call plays down towards the end zone. You don't really have the opportunity for field goals anymore. There you get a good look. They're going to go for 2. How is it going to affect the kickoff game? And then also, how does the defense react to that? Because it's going to be a different field position for them.
So back to the action again with Dennis Kandiev having to kick off and get the duties. This one fielded at the 20-yard line and taken for the first time by Logan Shorb. And Shorb up across the 30 towards the 33-yard line.
And not a bad kick by Kennediev, and not bad coverage by the Green Knight kickoff team, stopping him short of getting any kind of decent field position. But we'll get a good look at what we have with Southern Lehigh's offense.
32-yard line. There will be 1st and 10 for the Spartans.
The offense, you see Vogler and what he does. Obviously, Asher Smith is the go-to guy when they bring in Hunter Hughes as well. You're going to get a majority of run. They're going to see if they can pound it first and then, throw the football is what we expect from seeing Coach Toman.
And you can see them starting off here right now with both 2 tight ends on the field, nothing but a full house back, our line, and 2 swing backs and a fullback. They're going to commit to the run. They want to get back to basics after that game last week. And just get the confidence back rolling into, as we know, we talked to them about the playoffs coming up. They're 3 weeks away. This team's preparing and getting ready for the playoffs as well.
So a pickup of 2, 2nd down and 8. The ball sits at the 34-yard line, and on the ground they attack once again. That's Cam Fisher. Fisher tries to bust to the outside, and he sees the first down marker. He will get that in more as he gets up across the 45 to the 46-yard line. So good run by Cam Fisher, who came in with just under 400 yards rushing on the year.
And as you said, we hear a lot about Asher Smith and Vogler and those guys with what they do offensively for this team, but it's the compliments that help them be successful. It's Cam Fisher, it's Hunter Hughes, it's the receivers and Michael Bodner, the tight end and Jacob Reedy. And then Coach Toman really raved about his offensive line and how well they've been playing this year and how successful they've been.
Injured player for the Green Knights on the far sideline, didn't get a number. John Smith will make his way out that way. And, Matt, going back to the injuries, there's, been a number of players. We talk about the kicker, Max, Hauk, who's one of our D-11 sports reporters as well. He's been out with a concussion as well, and there's a couple other guys in the mix. So, when you're at that stage, when you're shorthanded and you're playing a quality team like Southern Lehigh, an injury like this, that hopefully it's not anything, huge, but it kind of brings you back even more when it comes to depth.
It does. I mean, as you said, they're already down a handful of players, a good number of players. But on top of that, Coach Smith just kept talking about the senior leaders that are down and injured, and we're getting a look as he comes up. It looks like it's number 6, Dylan Ashenfelder, one of their safeties.
We saw the keys, the game for Southern Lehigh, limit those turnovers and play physical, four quarters of football. And I think that's something that John Toman, I asked him before the game, you're coming off the loss. How do you want them to react? Did they have a good practice? He goes, we'll see. We want to see kind of, if this team's ready to go here.
And that's always the thing. We always ask the coaches, how was the week of practice? How do you think they're going to rebound after a loss? And it really does come down to we'll see what they do on the field. And it always, you can have a great week of practice, then you come on the field and it just all falls apart. I highly doubt we'll see that out of Southern Lehigh. I think they're going to respond, but they're already put themselves in a deficit here to Penn Argyl, who came out with a fantastic opening drive.
So back to the ground they go with Fisher. Fisher eyes up the defense, pushes forward, and gets right towards midfield.
And I think if you're Southern Lehigh, you're going to take these 4 or 5 yard gains, and you'll just continue to work that all the way down the field. And again, talking with Coach Toman, he mentioned, as we said, are you going to run the ball more? Are we going to see a lot more pass? And he said, we'll see. It all depends on what the defense gives us. It depends on what we want to do. If they want to stack up against the run, then we'll let Vogler throw the ball. If they're going to sit back, then we're going to rush the ball with Asher Smith and Cam Fisher and Hunter Hughes.
Whistle on a flag.
Flag is down.
Well, our first penalty of the game. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. But it looked like it was just a missed timing there where the guy didn't go in motion when Vogler wanted him to go, and everybody else was ready to go on a certain time, and they just took off. A nice run by Hunter Hughes coming on the near side. He finds a hole and cuts back, puts his foot in the ground and gets a nice cut back against the grain to get back that penalty yardage and to put him in a manageable 3rd down situation.
Third down and 4. The ball sits at the 48. They will continue to go on the ground, and This one, depending on the spot, I think is going to be about a yard short.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Coach Tillman go for it early in the game. You know, he knows coming off that loss, you don't want to push too much, but at the same time, I think you need to set a tone and set a level of confidence in your team that we believe in you and you're going to get this yard when we need it. And these are moments you can build on, us, like we said, moving towards the playoffs.
So 4th down and 1, a big play here. See if they can pile through, and they will. So another first down moving the ball is Hunter Hughes. Hughes, a fullback, a senior at 6'1", 225, came into the game with 339 yards on 46 carries and 3 touchdowns. So you mentioned it. Penn Argyl had that long drive in the opening part of the quarter, and if you're Southern Lehigh, you just kind of want to keep the momentum going your way on the carry here by Cam Fisher.
And like we said, it's exactly what they're doing. They're just keeping that momentum going, using their offensive line, trying to wear down Penn Argyl. And, you know, credit Coach Tolman coming in and his staff. They know Penn Argyl is short players. They know they're short starters. They have a lot of injuries. So this kind of game can fare well for Southern Lehigh. They try to wear down this Penn Argyl defense. A lot of two-way starters, just wear them down but they have to finish these drives.
And, you know, when you're getting 6, 7, 8 yards a clip and moving the chains, things are going effectively your way. Another carry there by Hunter Hughes.
And I think we're going to continue to see that nice complement, nice balance of Smith, Fisher, and Hughes working that running game. We have yet to see Vogler drop back and pass during this series. But as I said earlier, the key is going to be, can Southern Lehigh's offense continue this momentum, continue to drive the way they are, but then at the same time finish the drives. They can't just drive down the field and then stall.
From the 28, that almost stalled. Going up to get that one and saving a huge loss was Vogler, and Vogler ends up getting positive yards out of that.
And that's what we were just talking about. Those are the types of mistakes that they have to clean up. They can't afford to have those on these long drives and put them behind the sticks. They were on this drive successful on first down pretty much every single time except for the first play of a gain of only 2. Here, Vogler able to get 2 yards after escaping disaster with that high snap.
Ball down to the 27. After a 5-minute drive by Penn Argyl, suddenly I showing what they could do. Asher Smith cuts back in, makes a nice move inside the 20 down to the 10-yard line, still on his feet, and he'll finally get knocked down right around the 10. It'll be 1st and goal, depending on the spot, for Southern Lehigh.
Looks like they're going to put the ball down on the 10-yard line, but as you said, nice run by Smith with the lead block by Hunter Hughes out front, but you have to come back and you have to credit the block of tight end Jacob Reedy, 5'11", 205-pound junior. He set the edge for him to get that play going, allowed Hughes to get his one block, and then left Smith a lot of empty space.
1st and goal from the 10. And Asher Smith takes the direct snap, gets inside the 5, still on his feet, and will get taken down right around the 2.
Asher Smith.
As you said there, Asher Smith lining up in the Wildcat, and yet we have another Penn Argyl Knight down on the ground.
To the 1-yard line. 2nd and goal.
Didn't quite see what number this was down on the ground.
So it comes at 2:01 on the clock. A 6-0 lead. Again, if you're just joining us here on D11sports.com, a 17-yard touchdown for Gavin Amron to Colin McKegg. They had to go for the 2-point conversion. They didn't get it, and it came at the 7-minute mark. And since then, it's one drive. Again, we get back to, there's 4 quarters of football to be played. But one thing that we know is right now is if you're Penn Argyl, you did your job on the first possession by a couple of means. Number 1, it was a long drive. Number 2, you scored. So, positive both ways.
Absolutely. And I think defensively, too, Southern Lehigh isn't doing much offensively to spread them out and take advantage of things, but they're playing solid. They need to make sure they fit up on the tackles, finish the tackles, and fit in the gaps where they go, because we're going to see a lot of rushing out of this Southern Lehigh offense.
Antonio Rito is the guy shaking up on the play. John Smith getting us all the information we needed prior to the game. Always does. So it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1. Smith back there once again. Will follow Cam Fisher, and Smith will push forward and go in for the 1-yard score. So Asher Smith with his 22nd rushing touchdown of the season. And we're evened up at 6-6.
Smith again lined up in the Wildcat, takes a direct snap, and as you said, follows Fisher and is pulling offensive guard. The left guard, number 68, Colin Gill, follows him around, just gets behind them, pushes the pile into the end zone for the touchdown. If things stay this way, each team takes one drive per quarter. We're going to have a quick game.
You know that's going to change, though, right?
Most likely, yeah.
Colasardo is in for the extra point attempt to give Southern Lehigh the 1-point advantage. The snap is good, and the kick is up, and that is good as well. So with 1:48 on the clock, Southern Lehigh takes the lead by a score of 7-6.
And as we stated, for Penn Argyl, this first quarter, this is a win for you. You basically limited the number of, or the amount of time that Southern Lehigh had the ball, but yeah, they went down and scored, but you made them work for all of it. You didn't give up any big plays. I think there was one play of over 15 yards. Everything else was 3, 4, 5, 6 yards, nothing more than that. So I think you have to continue to build on that, and Coach Smith has to continue to talk to his guys about, hey, we're in this, and we can still stay positive. We're okay. But then on the flip side, Coach Tolman, Southern Lehigh, he needs to get something out of his defense. His defense needs to step up, get a stop, try to get the ball back to his offense.
So 2 touchdowns, both on the opening possession for both players.
Connor Fair, Jared Albany is deep for the Knights.
And Colasardo has it on the tee at the 40. And this one will be returned right around the 2.5 by Fair. Fair gives up to the 10, 15, tries to cut through, has some space, and Fair will get up to the 28-yard line. So a solid run back by Connor Fair.
Just as you thought he had an opening and he had some lane, Cam Fisher from the edge, from the outside, fights off his block, ducks back inside to make the tackle on Fair just short of the 30-yard line.
First and 10 for the Knights after 129.
Good sign as we see Rito coming back on the field for Penn Argyl. Still no sign of Dylan Ashenfalter, who went down earlier in that drive on defense. I don't think we'll see him back today.
Fair has some space on the far side, couldn't get all the way out, and gets tripped up on the play. A couple guys in there for Southern Lehigh, including Hunter Hughes.
And I think once Fair watches this on film, they come with a counter reverse, and they have a lot of lead blockers out in front of him. He just misses the block set up by his teammate on the outside. He didn't quite catch the number. If he would have just stepped inside, then jumped back out to the outside, he had a lot of empty space, and he had 3 blockers in front of him set up to give him a wall down the sideline.
So approaching a 1-minute mark, opening quarter. It's 7-6 Southern Lehigh, 2nd down and 8 from the 31. They'll fake that one to Fair. And Rito will take it himself. Good sign seeing Rito back into the game, up across the 35 to the 37-yard line.
And what makes this play so hard to defend is you're reading your keys defensively. You have a guard pulling to the right defensively, to the defense's right. You have a sniffer back pulling to the right as well. And then you have Rito just put the ball in Fair's stomach and then pull it back out, taking it to the left side. In defensively reading your keys, you're flowing to the right, and then all of a sudden he's sneaking out the other side.
Likely the last play of the quarter. And not much running room there, so it'll bring up a 4th down after the quarter switch. Or no, there'll be a stoppage of play here. Is that a first down?
Looks like it's going to be close.
Wow, it didn't look like he got the first down from when we... Yep.
Bob Andrews gives him the call. First down. Clock should start once they set it, and that'll be the end of the first quarter.
So a good sign. Not a 4th down coming up when we start the second, but instead we'll have a first down. So an interesting first quarter up here on the hill at Alumni Stadium. 7-6 in favor of Southern Lehigh. Back after this on D11sports.com, Game of the Week. So 7-6 as we come back to action here. Ball will sit at the 39-yard line, and that was a huge first down. You mentioned Bob Andrews, single that first down. I thought he was short, but, put him in position again when you're rolling around there and you put the spot down is a good sign again for the Green Knights.
Absolutely. To continue that drive, not have to make that decision on fourth down whether or not you're going to go for it. Having a lot of success running the ball and finding some lanes for these running backs.
Fair gets a good block in front, and Fair will get right at that first down marker.
I got to credit that you mentioned it. It's a very nice offensive block by the left guard, number 71, Aiden Compton, pulling around to the right, leading Fair, and he just buries his defender into the ground. The pancake block for Compton today, the first one that we've seen.
So first down right at the 49-yard line for the Green Knights.
This is one of the things that gets funny, Al. In high school football, as we talk about this game, you have to say Southern Lehigh was the favorite coming in, but the more you let the underdog stick around in a game and let them gain confidence, the tougher and tougher it gets.
Albanese on the carry, 5'10", 170-pound junior, his first carry of the game. And you're right about that. And again, when we talk about, still early in the contest, things can change one way or the other. But right now, if you're Penn Arjo, you're like, hey, we're staying put. We're just going by our, what we can do and controlling it that way.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that I dislike about Penn Arjo right now is their jerseys and trying to read their numbers.
Yes.
I love the green jerseys. It's just that two-tone number makes it so difficult to see who's running. The twos look like five, the sixes. It's just a challenge.
Now rolling near side and throwing. Has a receiver. It's Fair. And Fair has a lot of space. They don't get knocked out of bounds at a 19, maybe the 18-yard line. A great pass play as Fair makes the catch. And once again, delivering was Emmerman.
And it was nothing more than just a crossing route. They have McTeague coming from the outside, running a post. And then they have Fair running a wheel route to the outside, and it's just like a natural pick. McTeague does his job of running in there, just disrupting the defender on Fair, and you see Emmerman find him with a lot of empty space for the big play. So that's twice now Penn Arjo's hit Southern Lehigh with big offensive plays in the passing game.
From the 17. Rito will change that one and give it back to Fair. So it's been a lot of number one here, moving the ball effectively downfield.
And I'm going to go ahead and credit number 71 again, left guard, Aiden Compton, with another pancake block on the outside. He keeps fighting at defensive end, and just puts him into the ground. He's having himself a great game so far for Penn Arjo on the offensive line.
Inside 10 minutes. 7-6 Southern Lehigh. Touchdown run by Asher Smith.
Sorry, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Penn Arjo really slow it down and not try to get in the end zone too fast. And as I say, they open up another big hole for them.
Yeah, the offensive line doing a good job here in the early part of this game as they get inside the 10 down to about the 9-yard line. So they can get a first down without a touchdown. First down marker sitting right around the 7.
Might as well say it right now, too, Al. We talk about this. We mentioned how Penn Arjo's kicker got hurt this week in a soccer game. I have to think if they don't get the first down, they're going for it on fourth down. So this is two-down territory for Penn Arjo.
Yep, I agree. 3rd down and 2.
And that you couldn't have happened. That's the one mistake we've seen out of Penn Argyl today.
5-yard penalty step up against the Knights.
Matt, that said, they're still going to go for it in the next two plays anyway.
I have to think that. And I think, offensively as a play caller for Penn Argyl, you're thinking that too. Okay, I don't need to get all 7 back. All I need is 3, 4, maybe 5 if we want to get greedy. We don't need it all back because we can get it in 2. And the way the offensive line has been blocking for them, you have to feel confident you can get it in 2 plays.
3rd down and 7 from the 14. Ammerman rolls, has some time, and now throws, and that one is incomplete. Looked like he had more time than he thought, and then he ended up throwing it off the back foot and didn't have enough on it.
You said it correctly there. He had Fair coming open. I think he looked like there was so much pressure out in front of him, and he had to step up in the pocket. And it looked like he made the decision to run, but then saw Fair at the last minute. And as you said, just not able to get a throw that was was good to make the completion.
And with that, Matt, Coach Smith has to call timeout here. He's just going to say, all right, let's see what we're going to do. For Magic Pinto, this is really a chip shot if he was in the game, but obviously he got hurt during the soccer game. So now they'll set up a play here offensively and try to get the first down. Again, they do not have to get the touchdown, but they do need 7 yards to move the chains and keep the drive going here.
I wouldn't be surprised that we see Penn Argyl, like you said, they only need 7 yards for the first down. I wouldn't be surprised we see them go into the end zone, because I think Southern Lehigh has to be thinking the same thing where they're thinking, we have to they just want to get the first down. I think we're going to see them want to line up, try to catch them off guard, and maybe throw something into the end zone.
Coordinated parking sites and shuttle routes throughout our school districts that should assist you in getting to and from the game. Shuttles will depart approximately every 15 to 20 minutes from every location. Bangor Memorial Stadium gates will open at 9:15.
So 8:32 on the clock. 7-6 is your score. And this becomes a huge play in the game here.
You're right. I mean, you look at they ran over 4 minutes off the clock. This drive started in the first quarter. Now you're about 4 minutes into the second quarter. We'll see what they can pull off here.
So 4th down and 7. Looked at Fair, didn't see him, and then goes to the back, and that one knocked away. Great job of poking his hand in there at the last minute was Cam Fisher.
And that was the same play they ran earlier in the drive that they found Fair open on. They saw McTeague, coaches from up top must have seen McTeague on their post route come free, but Ammerman just underthrows him a little bit, allowing Cam Fisher from his cornerback spot, playing man-to-man coverage, get back there, get a hand on it to knock it away.
So, Matt, 2 drives for Penn Argyl. This time they got down to the, originally down to about the 10-yard line. And this is going to be an interesting drive here for Southern Lehigh, but more importantly for Penn Argyl here when you look at the clock and sitting at 8:26.
Yeah, Penn Argyl has to, defensively, they need to come up with a stop. So we see there Southern Lehigh defense able to come up with a stop. Yes, they gave up a lot of yardage. Penn Argyl was able to get deep into the Southern Lehigh territory. But now it's Penn Argyl's turn. Can they come out defensively and get a stop?
A big hole and busting through that hole, and there's a flag on the play that may bring this one back. But, a good job of flying through the seam was Hunter Hughes.
And there wasn't much there. He just had a little bit of a seam. He had a kick-out block. He runs through one tackle, and that's what you always want to see out of your running backs. There's always going to be one guy unblocked. When you have 11 on 11 on the field, one of the guys in the secondary is going to be unblocked. That time it was an outside linebacker / safety for Penn Argyl. And Hughes able to sidestep him and get the extra yardage, but it looks like we have a holding call bringing this back.
So this moved down to the 11-yard line. Man, has Southern Lehigh thrown the ball yet?
They have not yet.
All right, and they're not going to still. As again, they try to go through the middle and to carry, I believe that was Hughes once again. It was. A lot of green jerseys, and right now the green jerseys, Penn Argyl are doing a great job, and you got to give credit to those linemen.
And just like we said for Southern Lehigh, if this defensive front for Penn Argyl can occupy the blockers and let the linebackers run, they can have some success.
7-6. The touchdowns today, a 5-yard drive to start the game by Penn Argyle, a 17-yard touchdown from Ammerman to Colin McKegg. They went for the 2-point conversion. They didn't get it, 6-0. And then Southern Lehigh, on their opening drive at 1:48, scored a 1-yard run by Asher Smith. Extra point was good, 7-6, and that's where we stand here. 3rd down and 3, and Smith tries to get to the outside to push forward, and then the flag at the end of that play. Did we get a face mask there?
I believe it's going to come in as a face mask, a 5-yard face mask at the end, just as the defense came up huge, made the play to stop them on that. They give up 5 yards, and then suddenly I guess the first down.
Well, Matt, you talked about the penalty earlier being big. This one almost as big, even though that was on the offensive side of things. Here, you probably have them punting the football.
I would think in that depth of the field, you probably have Southern Lehigh line up the punt, but still, 4th and short, I wouldn't have been surprised to see Coach Toman go for it.
1st and 10 on the ground once again. I'll tell you what, this defensive line is just doing a good job. Woody Kindrew, one of the guys in there for the Green Knights. The Green Knights have a game in a couple weeks that some people are aware of, I think. Penn Argyle and Bangor in the 100th meeting.
And I really liked how Coach Smith put it. He said, that's the turkey for their Thanksgiving. They're right now dealing with eating the trimmings. It's everything else that they need to take care of first before they get that turkey.
Well, Asher Smith with a huge run and jumping over defenders. And that's his biggest run of the game.
And we mentioned about Aiden Compton for Penn Argyle with the pancake block. That time it was Southern Lehigh's Hunter Hughes leading Smith around the left edge. He gets into a defender, squares him up, and takes him to the ground for his first pancake block.
So the ball on the 48. Smith cuts inside and still on his feet, and he takes off. And you're going to catch him here as Smith goes 48 yards for the touchdown and no flag.
And this is going to be a big hit for Penn Argyle, as that not only do they score the touchdown, but it looked like Ammerman gets injured on the play. He was in the middle of that tackle and then just stopped, and it looked like something with his shoulder. And he just walks over the sideline, but credit Smith with a nice run, nice touchdown.
Yeah, thought they had him bunched up, and again, they had him stopped on 3rd down, and then the face mask keeps the drive going. And that's twofold. A, hopefully you didn't lose a player in Ammerman, but a big touchdown for Asher Smith. Extra point to tack onto the lead. And that is up, and that is good. Christian Colossardo is 2 for 2 on the extra points, and Southern Lehigh with 5:53 on the clock here in the second quarter, up by the score of 14-6.
And you hit the nail on the head. You look back, number 1, you had the false start penalty when you're 3rd and short on your previous drive for Penn Argyle. That puts you back. That puts you out of your game plan a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're forced to throw the ball a little bit, and you're not. That throwing is not your strength. But then you come back on that, and then you stop them on 3rd down, which would have forced a 4th and short, but you get called for a face mask, which gives them the first down. So, when you're the underdog coming into the game, it's little mistakes like that start to add up and really prove to be the difference in the game.
So this, with 5:53 on the clock, proves to be a huge, possession for Penn Argyle. Again, you go again. There's so much time, but you go in a locker room like this, you're happy. You won the first half.
I agree.
There's a lot of time left.
Exactly. If you can go in 14-6, because you think back, the first drive for Penn Argyle, even the second one, they were able to run 5 to 6 minutes off the clock. So if they're able to come back and do the same thing, they're going in potentially 14-6, maybe 14-13 or 14-14.
Jared Albanese on the return. Stopped by number 85, Kristen Rice.
But I think without Ammerman right now not coming on the field, that kind of makes you become one-dimensional offensively for Penn Argyle.
First and 10, Penn Argyle.
So the Green Knights now at their own 17-yard line to start this drive. Ammerman still on the sideline being looked at. So when you're going from the single wing, you have other players taking snaps regardless, but Ammerman's been your guy so far today, and he's on the sideline being attended to.
Correct. And he's the one that you're going to ask to throw the ball, if anyone.
Quickly the first carry, and with that, a huge stop by Hunter Hughes.
Hunter Hughes, and as we stated, without Ammerman, I think Penargil looks to be one-dimensional. You're going to see Coach Blyler on the defensive coordinator for Southern Lehigh. He's going to sell out versus this run against Penargil and just bring a lot of pressure.
Back to the 15, 2nd and 12.
So 5:15 and counting, opening half. 14-6 Southern Lehigh. Ball sits at the 15. Connor Fair now looking to throw. And he delivers, but that one incomplete.
And it looked like there was a miscommunication on that play. You see, as you said, Connor Fair looking to throw the ball, but he had a receiver downfield blocking, not running a pass route, which kind of kept the defender in the area, made it a tough window for him to throw that ball into, as he had him running his out route.
Just like that, the offense has sputtered here for the Green Knights. So it'll be a 3rd down 12, the ball at the 15. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, Jaden and Anthony Sparrow, our D11 Sports reporters down on the field. We'll hear from them and Dave Micah at the half. And they try to run for some positive yards. And with that, they'll bring a 4th down.
Carries up to the 21-yard line.
And I'd have to think Penargil's going to punt, but a good sign for Penargil as Ammerman's coming back on the field.
Well, it's a lot of confusion, though, for the Green Knights here. It's Ammerman looking to punt.
Well, here's the other time where you get affected by losing your kicker in Maggi Pinto. He was their punter as well, so now you're forced to have Ammerman come in. Nice punt, however.
Yeah, he did a good job there. And here comes a good run back. Still on his feet, moving through. Through the defense is Fisher, and Fisher just pounding through the defense. Still on his feet. There's a flag in at the end of that play as he gets dropped right around the 15-yard line, but we'll wait for the call, which is sitting right around the 26.
I'd have to believe this is going to be a block in the back versus Southern Lehigh, which is going to bring this return quite a bit back from where it ended.
Holding, correction, illegal block in the back against the Spartans.
So a solid punt. The return was good as well. However, this will move it all the way back to the 40, but a short field.
Will be 1st and 10 for Southern Lehigh.
For the Spartans. And they lead 14-6.
It's a good field position for Southern Lehigh offensively to start this drive with just under 4 minutes left in the half.
On the ground is Fisher. Fisher spinning through, and he'll get 1st down and more as he picks up about 15-plus yards down to the 29-yard line.
Fisher comes from the wing back, and they fake this toss to the deep back in Smith and bring Fisher back underneath for a counter. We have a timeout by Penargil.
Green Knights want to get their defense solidified.
I'd like to thank Mr. Cole, Mr. Walter Cole, for providing us with over 20 interviews with people detailing their
Next week, we will have a Friday night affair as we'll be at Bethlehem Area School District Stadium to see Whitehall still looking for their first win of the year, and Liberty. The Hurricanes have their matchup tonight against Central Catholic. That all being said, going into the game winless is, a big game, for Liberty especially. And Whitehall Again, we're looking at if, you get 2 wins still in that 5A classification. Could you get in? Maybe on the outside looking in, even with 2 wins down the road. But we'll have that matchup on D11sports.com. And then we'll end things with Wilson and Notre Dame on a Saturday afternoon. That should be an intriguing matchup. Wilson with a devastating loss yesterday against Palmerton. They got a good football team, and they've lost a couple of games in the last second, in overtime. This team can be a force, when they get in the postseason.
It can. And it's all going to come down to the consistency with all these teams. As we stated on the field talking with Coach Toman in that 5A classification, first-year coach Matt Seneca at Whitehall, they don't look like a winless team. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of guys, but they play in a tough division in that EPC South. They're facing quality teams week in and week out, and they're battling the entire game with them.
From the 24, Asher Smith is down to the 15-yard line. Solid pickup, close to another first down, and trying to move the chains here, and the clock right at 3:33 and counting.
At the 15-yard line, 2nd and 1.
I think one of the things we'll start to see is, can Penn Argyl physically just withstand, with Southern Lehigh? Can they, going both ways as they get worn down, they're taking hits, but can they continue? That adrenaline with the game lasts only so long.
Vogler to throw and completes the pass on the far side to Michael Bodner. Bodner is 6 foot, 160-pound junior. And it'll be a 1st and goal coming up here for Southern Lehigh, knocking at the door once again, already up 14-6.
This is going to be a big one because you look at just over 3 minutes left. If Southern Lehigh scores quickly, I wouldn't be surprised. They get another opportunity, another possession before the end of the half, and see if they can put another one in. But it all depends on what happens right now. Can they score quickly, and can they make something happen?
Great job by Connor Fair to make the stop on Vogler.
And that's the aspect of this offense, the Vogler running the ball with the quarterback counter. Here they have the guard and tackle pull from the right side, leading Vogler around the left side. That was something Coach Tolman mentioned. They just started running him a little bit more last week in that Northwestern game.
Trying to push forward on another carry. Hunter Hughes has been quiet. Has not been quiet. He has been very active today as he gets down to about, the half-yard line. So it'll be a 3rd and goal from the 1.
And he just misses his touchdown. His knee hits down before he's able to reach the ball across the goal line. But also Southern Lehigh not showing any kind of sense of urgency with the finishing this drive.
Asher Smith looking to take the direct snap. He does, follows Cam Fisher and walks into the end zone. Another touchdown by Asher Smith. Now has 3 on the day, 2 from a yard out and 1 from 48. And that comes with 2:01 on the clock as they increase the lead.
And as we said earlier, there's Asher Smith lining up in the Wildcat with lead blocker. Lead blocker's in front of him in both his fullback and the tight end coming in motion. So it's going to be interesting to see at what point later in the game, if we see it at all, will they bring a wrinkle off of that formation with the unbalance, the motion, and the Wildcat? Will they let Smith throw the ball? Will they let it come with a counter to Hughes or Fisher, but just have something else off of that?
Well, extra point, they faked this one, and taking that one all the way is Vogler, and Vogler will go in. So a 2-point conversion by Vogler, and he was going the whole time.
I'd have to say this was planned the entire time because everybody's coming off the line of scrimmage. Vogler's getting up right away. And again, that's something that we always look back at, and where are the opportunities and what games can you take these different wrinkles like this, like a fake extra point, a fake field goal? Where can you work them in a live game situation? Because you may need that coming down the road later on.
So Smith with 3 touchdowns, 2-point conversion by Vogler, 22-6 Southern Lehigh. Matt, you look at the score, and a lot of people were expecting this kind of game, and right at this point. But you go back to that one play, that face mask, and that drive. That kind of changed things just a little bit. For possession and then the touchdown, and But if you're Penn Argyl right now, you still have time. You still have 2 minutes on the clock. Obviously, special teams will be huge here to get a nice run back to see if you can gather something. If on the other side, Southern Lehigh, gets a good block, and they go down there, and they have a couple timeouts to what you said before, try to tack onto the scoring if they stop you 3 and out.
Correct, and I think you go back to that false start on the drive, their second series, and then the face masks that continue to drive for Southern Lehigh. It's little mistakes adding up. They can't afford to have those add up.
Colasardo will send this one into the end zone.
Kickoff goes into the end zone for a touchback.
So 2 things. While you're Penargil, you want to see your offense come out here, and good sign as Ammerman's with Coach Smith getting ready to come back on the field. You want to go down the field and you want to make something happen. On the flip side of that, though, you can't have this drive go too fast. And you can't afford to give the ball back to Southern Lehigh, who's going to look to strike again pretty fast if they get the ball back.
22-6 is your score as we are here at Alumni Stadium in Penargil. Aldo Carlo Matavancho, Jaden Anthony Sparrow, Dave Micah as well. We hear from those guys at the half. And they'll go with the reverse. Here's Fair. Fair gets to the outside, has some space, and he'll get the first down and more and finally go out of bounds right around the 40-yard line. They'll mark it around the 38-yard line, but that was a great run. I thought he was actually going to throw the football. I'm not, maybe it was just a direct run, but it looked like at first it looked like he was going to throw.
And you have to credit Ammerman out in front of him with a lead block, but then also credit the heads-up play of Connor Fair. Getting out of bounds, saving a timeout for Penargil. Short time came off the clock as they moved it up closer to the 50. Now they're at a 61-yard field trying to get to the end zone for a touchdown.
So 1:52 on the clock. The ball at the 39 for the Green Knights. Harriman rolls, pumps, and now throws and gets Fair again. And Fair will, I thought he would stop the clock here, does not.
Yeah, that I agree. The official on the near side called him in on the tackle. Fair was reaching the ball out of bounds, trying to stop the clock. Twice making a heads-up play.
Again, Connor Fair has been, involved in a lot of different plays here with 1:16 and counting. That takes about 35 seconds off the clock because of that. Now goes near side. That's intercepted. There's a flag on the play after the INT by Cam Fisher.
And with where the flag was thrown, I think we're going to have holding against Penargil. But Cam Fisher was sitting back. They had the same route where they had Fair coming out on the wheel route, and Cam Fisher just sat back, waiting in his cornerback spot, came out of his man coverage, switched the receiver, and jumps the route for the interception. So we mentioned now you're Southern Lehigh, 37 yards to the end zone, just a minute, 1 second left in the half. Penargil can't afford to go down another touchdown.
And this one got away with him, really from that 5-minute mark. And it's been a long 5 minutes. 1st and 10 from the 37. On the reverse. And they're going for the gusto here. The pass play and open and for the touchdown. 37 yards into the hands of Michael Bodner.
So the ball touches Vogler. I'm trying to get all my names right here. So the ball snapped to Vogler, handed off to Fisher, who then hands it off to Smith, who then pitches it back to Vogler.
Why not?
Who then throws it to Bodner for the touchdown.
You got all that?
I got. Now, if that were a baseball play for a single out, that touched everybody. That touched the entire infield. But well executed on the trick play. And, Coach Toman, coaching against him for so many years, you're always going to see at least one per game. He always has one per game that he's going to bring out. Just like Northern Lehigh and Coach Tout, they'll always have one trick play per game. And here we got a good look at what Southern Lehigh's was with the double reverse pitch back throw So did you get it all down?
Well, I was rewriting it down again, but yes, the double reverse pitchback throw. Yeah, Bodner gets a 37-yard touchdown. That's what you need to know. For Bodner, that's his first touchdown of the year. Came in with 18 receptions for 193. He'll take that 19th reception right there for that touchdown.
Absolutely, and what a nice 19th reception it was. And credit Vogler with a nice pass. He dropped it in with he had great protection up front, first of all. And then he's able to put a nice ball out there and drop it right in to where only his guy could catch it and just give him enough to get into the end zone for the touchdown.
Hard to believe, that, we're talking in the 5:53 mark. Asher Smith went 48 yards for the touchdown, still 14-6. But since that time, Smith scored at the 2:01 mark again. And then now, Bodner from Vogler from 37 yards. And it went from a 7-6 game at the end of one quarter and all the way down, 6 minutes into the second quarter. And all of a sudden sitting at 29-6. This one fielded at the 1. That's Rito on the carry, still on his feet.
Antonio Rito on the return.
And Rito will get up to 20, up towards the 25, make it the 27-yard line.
And what a tough return by Rito. Continuing to push forward as he's getting hit and getting wrapped up by multiple Southern Lehigh defenders. Gets some help from his teammates as well to push forward.
7-yard line. First and 10 from the 27.
So just 44 ticks on the clock. In a 29-6 game. You're watching our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. We are up here at Alumni Stadium in Penn Argyl. Always a great view, especially in October. Takes the high snap, now looking to roll, and he will get out of bounds right around the 31-yard line.
Brought down by Fisher.
2 tackles Emerman was able to run out of on that sweep play to himself. First it was Hunter Hughes, and then it was the outside linebacker, number 26 for Southern Lehigh, Sincere Jackson, able to just get enough yardage outside of him for the 4-yard gain. But credit the Penn Argyl Knights. They're still battling. They're still fighting, and I didn't think we'd see anything but that out of them today.
Mm-hmm. So pick up about 3.5, 4 yards. Spartans at 6-1, trying to match Northwestern's record of 7-1. Northwestern blanking Saucon Valley on Friday night. High snap and a flag.
And definitely looked like some movement on the interior line of Penn Argyl.
On the Knights, we'll put the ball back at 26-yard line. Will be second and 11.
Dare I say,
Yes.
you know what I was going to say.
I know what you're going to say, but you might as well tell our viewers what you're going to say.
Okay. Very few penalties so far today. Very few. Now, we got to find some wood nearby. Knock on wood that we continue this trend today.
Broadcaster's jinx right there. We'll probably get a flag on this play. Second down and 11 from the 26 with 35 ticks on the clock. Fair dives forward.
Hunter Fair.
And I tell you what, it looks like there's holes that are opening up, but they're closing so fast. And that time it was number 89, Tyler Hauser, defensive end, linebacker. He's the one closing that down and following Fair and tackling for the short gain.
Yeah, they will not have to run another play. So after one quarter, it was 7-6 Southern Lehigh, but Asher Smith with a pair of touchdowns, and then they went trickery after a Cam Fisher INT. Touchdown pass from Vogler to Mike Bodner from 37 yards, and we're at the half, and the score is 29-6 in favor of Southern Lehigh. We'll be back with more action here from Penn Argyl. Again, the score is 29-6. Back with more of the D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine.
Protect integrity. Accept challenges. Honor diversity. Salute kindness. This is the code of the Green Knights.
Night Marching Band, the biggest little band in all the land.
We are back here at Alumni Stadium in Pan Argel. Al DiCarlo alongside Matt Evancho. Glad you could join us for our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. It's a 29-6 game in favor of the Southern Lehigh Spartans. And with that, we go down to the field and Dave Micah.
All right, it's halftime here. My name's Dave Micah. I'm with the Penn Argel interns. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Jaden.
I'm Anthony.
All right, guys, first half. What did Penn Argel have to do that you thought to be successful in the first half?
They had to really control the line, and they had to just make sure that they did not get too tired and not make sure suddenly I didn't wear them down. And unfortunately, that seemed maybe have to happen because the score is 29-6, and we just looked tired out there at halftime.
So talk about the first drive. Penn Argel gets the ball. They drive right down. Talk about that.
Oh, it was a textbook drive. They had a perfect drive, really. They moved the ball. They were running it. They had two deep passes to Colin McKegg, and Colin had a really nice grab in the end zone there to take the lead early on.
So, guys, who did you think was the star of the first half?
Definitely Asher Smith. 2 touchdowns, right? 3 touchdowns. It's really good performance. He is really good. So.
Yeah, great performance by him. He was all over the field.
So if you're Penn Argel's head coach, it's halftime. What do you think he's saying to the players?
Hey, this is time to rally. We got to come back. We're at our home turf today. Got our fans watching us. There's no better opportunity to come back than right now.
And what was your thoughts, going into the second half? What do you think that they would have to do?
I say they got to stay focused and make sure that they don't let the game get too out of hand before if they get to come back at all, and make sure they just come out here and show what they do, play their best football.
All right, I'm Dave Micah with the Penn Argel interns. Back to you guys.
All right, guys, job well done to Anthony and Jaden Sparrow. Well, not job well done to Dave, but we'll give him a little credit for this one as well. Those guys doing a great job with us. Max Halk, who's on the football field today, really just watching after being injured earlier this year. One of our student students as well. So, we thank them for being a part of this, and we'll hear from them in the post game when we get our player of the game. But, look at this matchup and look at the first half, and, you look at really a couple plays that changed it. I mean, Penn Argyle did everything they had to in their opening drive. They took 5 minutes off the clock. They scored a touchdown. Everything was going the way they wanted. Suddenly I then comes back. They score a touchdown. But since that point, things have changed a little bit, with the score being, out of range at 29-6.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse on this one, but we go back to the Penn Argyle second drive.
Why can't you beat like a cow? Why is it always
I
a
don't- I
horse?
don't know why it's a
Where's that
horse.
phrase? What is that?
That's a good question. You know what? You
I'm
can do?
bad with phrases, though. So
You can always Google it.
okay.
Google anything. It's a shameless plug to Google now. But they're driving in that second drive, and again, credit our student interns. Textbook drive by Penn Argyle on the first drive. Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better. Then they come back the second quarter. They have another drive going. They're inside the 15. They're poised to pick up that first down on 3rd and short. And mistake number one, the false start. And that puts them back, puts them a little behind the sticks, but still very capable of getting a first down, but they're unfortunate they're not able to pick up the first down. Okay, so you don't get the first down, you take a step back, let's get a stop now. Defensively, you're on the field, it's 3rd down, you come up, you make a stop, you're about to force 4th and 1, and you get called for a face mask. Mistake number 2. And that kept the drive going. As you said, 5:53 left in the second quarter, we're 14-6, Southern Lehigh. And then at that point, the Penn Argyle offense sputtered. Southern Lehigh's offense started to pick up. And I think that's where we're at right now. But other than that, I think, like they said, the student intern said, I think Coach Smith went in the locker room, just told his kids, we just need to come out and keep fighting, keep battling. And I think we're going to see that happen. They're not going to go down without a fight. For Coach Tolman on the other side, I think he wants to get going. He gets the ball first. I think they want to have a fast start and try to, like he said, they had that physical game last week. If they have the opportunity to rest some guys in the second half, they're going to take that opportunity because they, like we said, they're looking ahead. They have a couple weeks, 2 weeks left in the season, and then they're focused on that 5A district championship. They want to win that district championship.
Yeah, they got Penn Argyle today at Catasauqua next week and finish things with Salisbury. Salisbury picking up another win. They're playing pretty good. For the Penn Argyle Green Knights, they get Palisades next week here, and then they finish, of course, with their huge game, the 100th game, against Bangor. Now, Dave asked Jaden and Anthony, what are the coaches telling their teams at the half? I asked you the same question. What was Coach Smith telling his team at the half?
I think our interns hit it right on the head. I think he was in there just telling them, this is not over. I mean, we saw their keys again. They wanted to play 4 quarters. They have 2 more quarters to go, and I think we're going to see them come out and play those 2 quarters, and they're going to play disciplined football. They're going to try to play mistake-free. And if they can come out and do that, they have a shot at possibly coming back. Now, you say, well, they run the ball a lot, which they do, but if they can limit the number of possessions Southern Lehigh has and they're able to come out and get a few stops on defense, finish drives on offense, we're looking at a whole different game.
Well, we are underway here in the second half. We'll take you through the scoring after this kickoff, and Southern Lehigh is going to try to start things off quickly, and they get a good run back, and that's a great start for them after the return by Jacob Fazio. 17-yard touchdown, Gavin Ammerman to Colin McKegg. Made it 6-0 after they missed the 2-point conversion. That was at the 7-minute mark of quarter number 1. At the 1:48 mark, opening drive for Southern Lehigh, a 1-yard touchdown run by Smith. Extra point was good, made it 7-6. That was your score after 1 quarter of play. We had to wait to the 5:53 mark. By the way, Penn Argyle was driving, got to the 10-yard line. Things changed. Then eventually leading to a 48-yard touchdown by Asher Smith, made it 14-6. And we went to the 2:01 mark, a 1-yard touchdown by Asher Smith, 2-point conversion run by Vogler made it 22-6. And then after a Cam Fisher INT, we'll get to that in a second. Here's a throw to a wide open receiver, and that's Cam Fisher. And Fisher breaks a tackle, breaks another one, and gets inside the 20 down to about the 15-yard line. Fisher after the INT. Then they went with a little trickery with the double reverse, and they pitched it back to the quarterback at Vogler. He found Bodner 37 yards, and that was your scoring recap for the first half to make it 29-6. Here, already only, 17 seconds into the second half of play, Matt, they have the ball sitting at the 15-yard line, 1st and 10.
And you see a difference Southern Lehigh offense coming out to this half where they were predominantly run-oriented in the first half out of their wing T sets. This time they're coming out empty set, putting Vogler in the shotgun and bringing some motion and letting him throw the ball.
They'll give it once again to Fisher. So we're seeing Fisher and we're seeing Asher Smith, but like you said, in different locations on the field.
And up at that one wing is Hunter Hughes, number 38, typically the fullback. They run Fisher with that counter or power out of the wing tee to that side, so he becomes essentially a lead blocker for Fisher.
2nd down and 7 from the 12. 5-yard line is that first down marker. Vogler looking to throw, has time and throws, and that one's incomplete. Trying to make a diving catch to the near side was Bodner.
They bring Fisher in motion off of the wing. Play action to him off that power. They bring a guard out the block, so it's their waggle pass play where they had the outside guy running a comeback, and Vogler not able to get enough on it to where Bodner could come up with the catch. Just comes up a little short.
.11:04 on the clock, 3rd down and 7 from the 12. Vogler looking to throw, trying to make that turn, and he gets popped on the play. And then they lose some yards. Good job defensively at Penn Argyl. Again, you go back to what Coach Smith said, we're going to play, and they are indeed playing.
Absolutely, and credit Rito with the nice open field tackle on Vogler, who looked like he was about to sidestep that tackle, but he just breaks down, focuses on the hips, drive through the hips, and uses his teammates to come and finish off the tackle.
So they'll attempt a field goal attempt.
And I think this is going to be a field goal attempt. They already ran the fake on the 2-point conversion.
28 yards on the field goal attempt by Colasardo, and 28 yards is good.
Field goal is good. Makes the score 32-6.
So 32-6 after the field goal at the 10:18 mark here in the 3rd quarter by Colasardo. At Penn Argyl, though, after that drive, with the kickoff and everywhere through,
So a quick start for the Southern Lehigh offense, which we thought we would see coming out in this half.
so they get the 3 points. They don't get the 7 that they wanted.
Kick off for the Spartans.
This one will be fielded. It's going to be a tough one to bounce, and it does bounce out right around the 10-yard line. And up towards the 25. They're going to mark this at the 26. So we'll get the first possession here at the 26-yard line for the Green Knights. So 10-11 on the clock after the 28-yard kickoff. And again, you're working on the kickoff too. I mean, on the field goals, you're looking at your kicker because, down the road you may need that kick, and you want to say, all right, let's get the range. You get the range during practice, but when you get to the actual game, that's when it really matters.
And it's all about timing, as you said, during the game. Can you get off that field goal against another team's pass or block? Can you get off that rush? And that hole closes down quickly with number 58, Riley Kraft, from the defensive tackle spot, as Ammerman was trying to fake the handoff and follow his lead blockers through the hole.
Loss is back to the 22-yard line. 2nd down, 14.
Quiet crowd here at Penn Argyl with the score 32-6 in favor of Southern Lehigh. And that 2 interesting games tonight in the EPC.
And I think they both have implications at different ends of the playoff spectrum.
No doubt. A flag on the play here. Liberty taking on Central. Talking about 6A class, 4A class, and both in a position. Pocono Mountain West getting another victory last night, after we saw them against the Deer of Huskies. And they're putting themselves in play to try to lock up one of those spots.
And when we saw Coach McCarroll last week, that was what he talked about. He thought their schedule would lead them and give them an opportunity to play for that playoff spot. But when you look at the 6A classification, Liberty is going to be fighting to get their way in and facing Central Catholic tonight, who's very much improved and playing well as they beat Emmaus last week.
Another flag. So the Green Knights right now going backwards.
I jinxed us.
Yeah. Hey, well,
I jinxed us.
It
lasted till the second half, though.
It wouldn't be the first time. I mean,
it's only 2 flags. Maybe that's it.
And then Easton gets. I believe that will be this will be their last Saturday night game, correct?
Their last third of 3 Saturday games this season.
And that's an intriguing matchup against Becca.
And right now, Becca, I believe, is in the number 1 spot for 4A class for the district. And then Easton, I believe, is sitting at number 4, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4.
Looking to throw in traffic, and that one taken away. And it's Fisher. So Fisher has a couple INTs.
And that's a quick turnaround. Fisher comes up with the INT again, very similar to what he had, the interception he had in the first half. This time, just a different route. He has a guy running a corner route in front of him, and Connor Fair. He's sitting back in zone coverage this time, keeping everybody in front of him, able to read the quarterback's eyes. And as he sees him getting ready to throw to the ball, or throw to his receiver, he breaks on the ball. And credit the athleticism on Fisher. He got up for that one. I thought it was over his head. He had to easily be 2 feet off the ground jumping for that ball. But as we said, Becca in the 4A classification, Easton in the 6A, I believe sitting at number 4. This is game number 2 in their 4-game stretch of just murderer's row in that EPC South.
Asher Smith inside the 10 down to about the 8-yard line. Freedom with a huge victory last night as they put up their numbers, and the offensive decided to do some good things, and quarterback setting school records, running back as well, and Coach Roeder has to be pleased with what his team did.
Well, I did see Coach Roeder last night during that game, and pleased, I don't know if quite the words he was. I mean, offensively, absolutely, he was pleased with it, but defensively,
that ball fumbles through into the end zone, and Southern Lehigh is going to come up on top with it.
Fumble goes into the end zone, recovered by number 58.
Looks 56. Richie Davis, the offensive lineman, getting his name in the paper for the touchdown.
How about that? Richie Davis will take it.
I'm going to venture a guess that that's his first touchdown. I'm just going to go out on a limb.
Was it 58 or 56?
I believe it was 56.
Okay, sorry.
Listen, I trust my eyes. I don't trust Dave's eyes.
Well, I agree. I mean,
listen,
Dave's got glasses on, but I don't know if they're
sunglasses
working.
on. The sun's not even out.
He's in the press box with sunglasses.
Listen, he's in concussion protocol. We need to keep the light out of his eyes.
Extra point. So Richie Davis covers that one. The lineman gets the touchdown.
Listen, when I saw that name, I had nightmares. When I saw Richie Davis, nothing against Richie Davis, but coming up here to Penn Argyl and seeing the name Richie, I'm thinking Richie Smith. And I'm thinking, I don't want to see that kid on the field ever again.
And he was a player.
He was a dominant defensive lineman and offensive lineman for Penn Argyl. And not to mention heavyweight as well. Heavyweight wrestler. Holy jeez.
So things have really unraveled here for Penn Argyl, but if you're Southern Lehigh, this is exactly what you were looking to do and trying to get back to where you've been. I mean, so far this year for Southern Lehigh, 45-13 against Saucon Valley, 27-12 against Palmerton. They beat Notre Dame 62-27, 49-0 against Bangor. They beat the Palisades 35-6, 35-22 against Northern Lehigh. And then last week, and Coach kept saying it every time we asked him, he goes, they made the extra points, we didn't, on a couple of occasions. They lose to Northwestern by a score of 36-34. Again, they won't meet again because you're talking about 5A classification, different classifications. But at the same time, if you're Southern Lehigh, what you're looking at now is a potential share of a Colonial League championship, number one, Matt, and you prepare yourself for districts,
Exactly.
and that's the big thing. So right now, if you win out and Northwestern wins out, you kind of like share your title and you go from there.
And nothing against winning a Colonial League championship, but I know Northwestern and Southern Lehigh both, they would like that, but they'd much rather win a District 11 championship, because if you win the District 11 championship, you're moving on to the state playoffs. Colonial League championship doesn't guarantee you anything moving forward other than a trophy and some medals for your kids.
So 7:57 on the clock, 39-6 in favor of Southern Lehigh as the offense comes back on the field for the Green Knights on this Saturday afternoon. Airman going to take it himself, drives through some traffic to the right side, gains about 4, up towards the 34-yard line.
And you have to credit, again, the offensive line of Penn Argyl. They're able to get into these defenders of Southern Lehigh, and they're opening up some holes for the running backs of Penn Argyl to gain yards. But again, going back to that Freedom game last night, Jared Jenkins, what a night. 345 yards
In the first half.
He was 15 of 17 in that first half. 15 of 17 or 16 of 17. He had 15 straight completions. Like, what a night.
Phil Sims like.
Yeah. You Giants, jeez.
Second down and 5.
You want them to bring back Eli.
Yes, I do. Second down and 5 from the 34. High snap taken. I think that was kind of fair. Had the lead block on Rito. So Rito Fair has caught the ball. He hasn't thrown the ball, but he's made some good blocks. He's been doing it on defense. And
He threw one ball.
He did throw one.
He threw one. Threw one, just didn't complete it to his team.
Mm-hmm. Down to 6:35 on the clock.
But he's one of those players for Penn Argyl who does it all. He was lining up in the wing, lines up in the slot, came in at quarterback, plays defense for them all over the place.
They try to give that one up and lead forward on Rito, but not much there at all. Bring up 4th down. The Green Knights will likely go for it here. Again, if you're the Green Knights, you're trying to keep this game going, trying to build even towards next week, and try to get better and better.
We'll see what Coach Smith elects to do, sending Emmerman back in with the play. Now, once again, remember, Emmerman is the makeshift punter right now with Magic Pinto out. It looks like they're lining up to go for it.
Well, it's taking a while to get this play going. 4th down and 4 from the 35. And then a high snap. Tell you what, he still gets a good one away.
Absolutely.
I mean, for where that ball was, he was inside his own 20-yard line and delivered down to the 38, really on his back foot going backwards.
It's fortunate for Penn Argyl. The ball bounces up, a nice bounce for Ammerman to allow him to pick it up and then get a kickoff that does turn out to be positive in a change of field position for him.
So we'll see the Southern Lehigh Spartans, who have been effective here in the second half, came out, got a field goal by Christian Colasardo from 28 yards at the 10:18 mark to make it 32-6, and then Cam Fisher, his second INT of the game, down to the 11-yard line, led to a touchdown that Richie Davis jumped on, and in the end zone to score to make it 39-6. Here they keep it on the ground with number 32. So Fisher tries to pop to the outside, and Fisher has some space, and he is gone. Cam Fisher goes 61 yards for the touchdown.
61 yards.
And I think this is going to turn a little bad for Penn Argyl. Hunter Hughes had a great lead block on the outside, another pancake block. But I think we're going to have a dead ball personal foul against Penn Argyl.
Personal foul called against the Knights.
So 61 yards on the touchdown. Increases the lead.
21-yard touchdown run.
We have our official Bob Andrews talking with Coach Smith for Penargil and a Penargil player.
Also, four placement.
So the clock will start moving then after this, with the mercy rule now in effect. I want to thank Tim Egan for his hospitality once again. Actually gave us some food prior to the game. Some people didn't have it because they arrived a couple hours late, and Dave, but he missed some hoagies, he missed some pizza.
Oh, absolutely.
But our student interns, they took advantage of it.
Absolutely.
They were all
Yeah,
over that.
They were down there.
They were enjoying it. I told them, members of the media, they were all over that. Had some pizza, had some hoagies. Dave's going to Taco Bell on the way home. So 5:06 on the clock.
Yeah, it looks like we just had a Penargil player ejected from the game.
Extra point by Closardo is good, and with 5:06 on the clock, 46-6.
And during the play, just over there by where Hunter Hughes had that lead block, there was a suddenly high player on the ground with a Penargil kid on top of him. It looked like there was a punch thrown, which would warrant the ejection. Well, definitely the flag came in with a personal foul.
Mm-hmm. So 5:06 on the clock, and it's all Southern Lehigh as they continue to generate the offense. And I think it took a while. Let's go back to the first quarter where we said it. Hey, right now, you're hanging around kind of thing, and it was. You're hanging around, but things changed. They unraveled, and now kind of the score, what Southern Lehigh was hoping would be to make it an early afternoon, but it's taken them a while to get to this position.
It has, and I think it was just a matter of just getting going. And credit Penargil and what they came out and what they were capable of doing. They came out and they were fundamentally sound. They were lined up. They were, where they needed to be, and they were making the plays they needed to make. And it was just too much of Southern Lehigh as it progressed for them to contend with through four quarters.
Southern Lehigh Spartans kick off from the Penargil 45.
So the difference with the penalty, Matt, where you're kicking off from, big time. And not only are you leading 46-6, but
Antonio Rito deep for the Knights.
You had to expect that was going into the end zone. I mean, in other games, when you're not up 46-6,
onside kick.
I expect that onside kick.
Absolutely.
We talk about that all the time.
Hey, you have to take advantage. There's nothing to lose there.
Exactly. When you look, you're kicking off from their 45, has to go to the 35. Maybe they gain possession at the 30. Here they're getting the ball to 20. It's a difference of 10 yards.
Yeah. So clock starts at 5 minutes. Again, mercy rule now into effect. It's been all Southern Lehigh here in the second half. And the latter part, the last 5 minutes of the second quarter. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. We will be at Bethlehem Area School District Stadium on Friday night for Whitehall and Liberty, and then finish things off with Wilson and Notre Dame on a Saturday afternoon, a 2 p.m. start on the last game of the regular season. On the ground here is Antonio Rito. Rito tries to make the turn and gets knocked out of bounds.
Antonio Rito pushed out of bounds by J.C. Rizzuto.
And as we said earlier, too, we're going to see Penargil play 4 quarters of football. They're not going to pack it in. They're not going to give up. They're going to continue to fight no matter what the score is. Coach Smith and his staff are going to continue to coach throughout the rest of the game. And as you said, they have to get ready now, look at what can they do to get ready for Palisades next week, and then that meeting against Bangor in 2 weeks.
And, put themselves right now in a position to see if they can drive this one and punch in the end zone. I mean, they had the opening drive worked to perfection for them and scored, but haven't scored since, and another flag.
And you look to see, is it timing that you have a couple jump and false starts, or is it tired? They're getting worn down, playing against a tough opponent, and it just takes its toll on you mentally or physically first, and then starts to take its toll mentally.
Rito again on the carry. White jerseys just swarming him down.
Tackled by Jackson and Curry. At the 24-yard line. It's a 2-yard
Penargil
gain.
continuing to work that running game out of that single wing, just not able to find enough empty space and open space for the running backs right now.
In this quarter, Colosardo with a field goal of 28. Fisher with a second INT. Richie Davis recovered the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. And then Fisher with a 61-yard run. So Asher Smith and Fisher have been dominating in this performance. They go on the reverse to Connor Fair. Fair makes the turn and stays in bounds, or does he?
Connor Fair.
Just not able to keep himself in bounds enough. Turn that corner and just all his momentum was pulling him out of bounds.
He was trying.
He
trying.
was. But fortunate for Penargil, able to pick up the first down with that reverse to Connor Fair.
Clock down to 1:45 and counting. Again, they'll go with the same play, and suddenly I'm not biting the second time.
And it all started with the penetration from linebacker Blaze Curry. 5'9", 170-pound sophomore, breaking through the line to stop that play before it could get started. Doesn't get credited with the tackle, but just slows it up enough where his teammates can come in and finish it off.
But you credit him with that, so it's
Absolutely.
okay then.
I always want to find those guys that you don't make the stats on certain plays, but they go all out and they're unselfish.
Inside, 45 ticks, third quarter. First down marker sitting right around the 44-yard line. Thought we were going to see a flag. We didn't. And it's Ammerman on the carry across the 35 up towards the 37-yard line and brings up a third down.
Ammerman was set up in the tailback position there, a traditional tailback, two tight end set, and Fair takes a snap and just tosses it back to him. And credit Fair also trying to get out in front of that and give a lead block for his running back.
So at halftime, this game was 29-6. Here after the third quarter, as the horn sounds, 46-6. All Southern Lehigh, 3 complete, 1 to go. 46-6. We'll come back with more action. D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this.
This event is sponsored by the Bangor and Penargil Alumni Association.
Back here, start of the fourth quarter, 46-6. Southern Lehigh on top. And Matt, your thoughts after 3 quarters of play?
Well, you credit Southern Lehigh bouncing back after that loss last week to Northwestern. I think we're seeing what Southern Lehigh is capable of right now. They're just spreading the ball around. They're able to move it where they want to, and able to get a lot of success in different aspects of their game. Offense have been playing solid play out of the offensive line, out of their skilled position players. But then also you look at the defense, and I think the defense gave up 2 drives early in this game, and then kind of settled in. And they've created some turnovers. They've been able to get out there and make some plays, and really they have been the turning point of this game. I think is the play of the Southern Lehigh defense.
Short with the
Look like we're short a player.
All right, we start the fourth quarter with a 3rd down and 8 from the 36 for the Green Knights. Looking to throw, has a receiver, and will connect. First down, moving the chains. So good start to the fourth quarter for Penn Argyl. First catch of the day for Reese Karp.
And it came off a play action. Penn Argyl heavy on the run, staying with that run, and then they play action, but bring him to the weak side. It was basically a one-man route. It was Reese Karp or nobody. If it wasn't him, they're running the ball with an option with Ammerman and Rita behind him.
So 1st and 10. High snap. And take it himself. Can he get away? Cannot. And yes, he does. But it doesn't really matter. He ends up getting positive yards. Somehow he drags about 4 or 5 Southern Lehigh players with him across the 45 down to a 42-yard line.
It looked like there was miscommunication up front. You had a lineman pulling to the left, and then the sniffer back and Ammerman wanted to come to the right, which caused some confusion in the blocking. But still, credit Ammerman, what he's able to finish off that play with some positive yardage.
So 10:30 on the clock and counting, 46-6. If you're just joining us here on D11sports.com, our game of the week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Avancho, Jaden, Anthony Sparrow, our D11 Sports interns from Penn Argyl. Dave Micah with us as well, making sure he's monitoring the website and all social media. If you have any questions, ask Dave. He'll give you some kind of answer. I don't know if they're good or bad, but he's responding to you. Flag at the end of that play.
Coming at the end, it had to be, it's going to be a 5-yard face mask against Southern Lehigh. So that should essentially give Penn Argyl a first down.
Yeah, Jim Haney, one of the great officials, and he's out there. He's in Chicago right now in the Big Ten office, and he's checking us out. So you don't know where you're going to find these guys. He's out there doing some work.
So he's out in Chicago. He was, I believe, doing the Freedom game last night.
Well, see,
I thought I saw him on the field.
Well, I don't know if you did or didn't, but his private jet, maybe he got there in a heartbeat.
I tell you what, those District 11 officials, they make a lot of money chartering private jets. I'm sure I'll catch wind of that one later on.
You may catch wind in the next 5 minutes if Jim Haney texts me back. So we're approaching the 9-minute mark.
But that's the game. I believe Jim Haney had the Freedom Emmaus game last night. So he got his workout in, working up and down the field with all the points scored.
So good drive here by the Green Knights. 2nd down and 3. And trying to get to the outside. We'll get the first down and more. And good job on the run by Jared Albanese. Albanese has had the last couple carries here for the Green Knights.
Down close to the 10-yard line. It would be 1st and 10 at the 11.
And as you said, this is a nice drive for Penn Argyl to put together to late in this game. Again, still saying they're not giving up, they're not quitting, they're still fighting, but they're putting together a nice drive and becoming completing all their assignments.
Well, it's interesting you're watching, this game now. It's obviously out of hand, but, in 2 weeks when you bring up the Penn Argyle on the Banger game, they have the banquet. They have all the alumni coming back. It's a huge game. It's number 100. The place is going to be bananas. A game like that, obviously, Easton and Peaburg had it, I think it was, 2009? 2000, in that range, 2009, you get that magnitude of everyone coming back, that everyone's had the green uniform, or it's had the Slater's uniform. It's such a huge rivalry, and that atmosphere is going to be electric, at Paul Farnan Field at Bangor Memorial Park.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes it even more impressive, the fact there's going to be standing room only at that stadium for that game. It's going to be such a great game for both of these teams and for these kids to be involved with, to be a part of. Where this season might not be going the way they wanted to for these Penn Argyle seniors, and for the Bangor seniors, they might not have had the season they wanted. It will all go away with a win on that day.
Well, they'll try to score a touchdown here from the 11-yard line, and they'll go via the ground. Not much there. And, bringing the standings, and obviously the standings, from after last night's game, not included, but Northwestern with the win last night, they're 7-1. Southern Lehigh with the victory today is going to be 7-1. Saucon Valley lost their game. They're now, to 5-3. Notre Dame gets a big victory yesterday. They're up to 6-2. So, Notre Dame putting themselves in position. Someone stumbles here, right back in the mix as well. Northern Lehigh beating Palisades yesterday. Wilson with that really tough loss. Again, Chris Labatch, I think that team is going to be a dangerous team when it gets to the postseason. However, in the classification that they're in, that's even harder as well.
Correct. And I think you mentioned those teams there. You take a look, you get past Northwestern, Lehigh, Southern Lehigh, Saucon Valley, Notre Dame. You get past those top four, then you're down to Wilson, Salisbury, and the other one was Northern Lehigh. Mm-hmm. Quietly just having successful seasons. Salisbury, and maybe Wilson had the same effect. Salisbury beat Notre Dame by 2 and then fell the next week in a game that we didn't expect them to fall in. Wilson beat Saucon Valley last week by 3, falls in a game that they were favored in. So it's an up and down year, and it's I guess it's always a lot of fun dealing with high school teenagers.
Yeah,
you
right.
never know who's showing up, and you never know what they're going to be like.
Oh, right now, Penn Argyle had the ball down to the 11-yard line. The ball's sitting outside the 15 here with 6:45 and counting. They got to the 10 earlier and couldn't score, and that was a while back at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter after scoring an opening touchdown. That one knocked away, and first guy in there was Travis Gretz.
And Travis Gretz from the defensive end spot gets up and gets his hands on that pass as they were looking for the running back flaring out of the backfield where he had nobody on him. And it looked like he had a lot of space in front of him, but credit to Southern Lehigh defense, again, being where they need to be, when they need to be there, and making the play.
Well, they can get a first down around the 2. But this ball, you would think, if it's thrown, has to be thrown into the end zone. Southern Lehigh has responded to their loss last week to Northwestern, 36-34. Here, 4th down and 15. And there was movement once again.
Ball start.
Matt with the whammy at the end of the second quarter.
Yes.
Calling the penalties, and we've had a bunch here in the second half.
We were rolling pretty well. So I think you're right at 4th down and 21, or 4th down and 20. I think we have to see something go towards the end zone.
Fourth down and 20. Airman, you're going to try to throw, nothing there, nowhere to go, and it was trying, can never get the ball out as he was swarmed on the play. A number of white jerseys in there, including Quazell Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins from the linebacker spot. Ammerman did everything he could to keep that play alive, and he just about got the ball off at the end of the play, but just not able to get it free and get it out to where he needed to get to his receiver.
So suddenly I will take over on downs.
I think this is where we're starting to see a lot of new jerseys for both teams coming on the field.
Logan Shorb still on his feet across midfield. So Shorb with the carry.
It looked like the ball came out there at the end, but it didn't. Logan Shore, that's his 11th carry of the season. Getting some good time here today, but showing what he's capable of doing on that run.
First and 10 from the 49. Shorb in motion once again. That one pulled back by Tamlin Ferguson. Ferguson, a 5'10", good size, 175-pound freshman in there at QB.
And still working the same game plan that they did with the rest of the first team unit earlier in the game. This time is, as you said, the quarterback, Tamlin Ferguson, with the quarterback counter, faking the Shorb on in the motion to the right and then pulling it out and coming back to the left with the lead blocker, the guard and tackle.
On the ground is Seth Rice. John Toman assisted by Joseph Cassidy, Mike Fay, Mike Gardenier, Alex Cosi, Adam Legath, Christopher Regal, Phil Sams, and Chuck Sonnen. Sams, of course, the Saucon Valley coach a year ago after Matt Avancho, Saucon Valley coach, and now he's here at Southern Lehigh. Chuck Sonnen been around the game for a long time, and Adam Legath. And so he's got that solid core of coaches around him that give them the pointers each and every time, and everyone does their part.
Exactly. That sometimes can be a problem, but knowing Coach Tolman, he has control of his program and the team, and he'll sit down and he'll talk with his coaches and he'll listen to the advice, and then he sets the expectation that, okay, guys, I'm going to listen to everything you have to say, but then I need to make a decision. And it's nothing against any of you if I don't decide on what you suggest, but I go with somebody else. It's just what I feel is best for the program and the team.
So that Jacob Fazio touchdown will be brought back.
That was a nice run by Fazio, too, unfortunately.
Holding puts the ball back at the Southern Lehigh 49-yard line. Third down and 12.
And knowing Coach told me he's not going to be happy with any kind of mistakes out of his second unit on the field. He has the same expectation for everyone that goes on the field, whether you're a starter, you're a backup, whatever it is. He expects you to play clean and disciplined football.
Fazio again tiptoeing down the sideline. There must be something on that sideline that you can't just muster in there, because
maybe it's just like the crown on the field. You get going downhill towards the sideline.
Got to be graceful.
That momentum. I bet you could do it.
I would have been right on there. I would have never moved.
You're like a ballerina down the sideline.
Exactly. You'd be up there, and I would have got it done.
First and 10, Southern Lehigh at the Bernardo 35.
Rollins. And Rollins dives forward inside the 15-yard line with 1:22 on the clock.
Rollins, the ball carrier.
And the same play, they just ran the Fazio the other way. This time it's Rollins from the deep tailback spot. Takes the pitch from Ferguson. One stiff arm and then a spin move away. Nearly comes out of a tackle down the far sideline. And that's just straight up blocking by the offensive line, getting a reach block by the tight end on the play side. And at this point, it's number 80, Jacob Stolsitz, who's a 6'2", 200-pound freshman. good-sized freshman there. And I think that's going to do it for this one.
Number 17, Ferguson, takes a knee. Second down.
So Ferguson takes a knee on that first down play. And as you said, Al, we go back to that. It was about the 6-minute mark in the second quarter. This was a 14-6 game. And then that's just when it all turned around in favor of Southern Lehigh.
So clock winds down. 46-6 is your final score.
Final score, Southern Lehigh 46 and Penarville 6. Final home game of the season for the Knights.
We will take a break, come back, and get our player of the game right after this. Our D11sports.com game of the week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive. Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts. Concussions are serious.
We are back here. 46-6 is your final score. Matt, overall thoughts of what you saw today?
I mean, we saw a good game to start. You know, Penarville went right down the field, as our student intern said, with a textbook drive. Offensively, getting down the field, making plays through the air, through the ground, and then we saw Southern Lehigh come back. I think it was just a matter of two things, really. I think it's a matter of seeing what Southern Lehigh is capable of doing. They're a very good football team, and I think they just wore down Penarville over the course of this game. And unfortunate for Penarville, you know, they got hit with a couple injuries at the wrong times to the wrong people, and that just took its toll on them. You know, a credit to Coach Smith and his staff at Penarville. I think they're doing a great job focusing on the fundamentals, focusing on the little things, and you can see that through the game that they're working on that. They're still believing in that. They have a tight-knit group. And I think we're going to see a lot more out of him. He spoke very highly of his seniors and the senior leadership that they have on the team. But you know, you look at Southern Lehigh, they have a lot of weapons on that team, a lot of weapons all over the place. When you talk about Asher Smith, Cam Fisher, Hunter Hughes, Vogler at quarterback, then you throw in Bodner at receiver, and then that wing T offense is a challenge to go against. You know, you have a lot to worry about. And then on top of that, you take their defense. You know, their defense comes out and they play solid. They're disciplined. They line up where they need to line up. They fly to the ball. You know, you're looking at one of the top two teams in the Colonial League right now in Southern Lehigh, and you put in there with them Northwestern Lehigh. You know, I think those two teams are probably your top two.
Well, I'll take you through the scoring while we await Asher Smith. 17-yard touchdown at the 7-minute mark. Gavin Ammerman to Colin McKegg. 6-0 Penarville. Then at the 148 mark, a 1-yard touchdown run. Asher Smith made it 7-6. 48-yard touchdown to Asher Smith. 14-6 was your score. 1-yard touchdown by Asher Smith. 2-point conversion by Vogler made it 22-6 at that point. Then Fisher with the INT led to a trick play that ended up going to Bodner from Vogler to make it 29-6. That was your score at the half. At the 10:18 mark of the third, 28-yard field goal by Christian Color-Sardo made it 32-6. And then Cam Fisher with the INT for Penn Argyl. Richie Davis recovered the ball in the end zone, and then at 39-6 was the score. Then Fisher with a 61-yard touchdown run. And with that, we go down to the field and our player of the game.
All right, we're here with player of the game, Asher Smith. Great game out there. So what are your thoughts on the game? How was that win?
I mean, we came out a little slow, but we turned it around quickly, and we were firing after that, and then we got the job done.
Yep. There were 3 touchdowns. How did that feel?
I mean, it felt great. Offensive line was doing an absolute amazing job. So was my fullback Hunter leading the way. Coaches were calling good plays. Everyone was involved too. It was great.
All right, thank you, Asher.
Yep.
Congrats on the win. Back up to you guys.
Well, this is the first time that we could say that, we gave out the player of the game shirt, and he needed the shirt because he took off the shirt. So that's a good thing. He's going to be able to wear that shirt for Asher Smith.
So let's add to that. I'm going to go back. We had an interview where the winner kept his helmet on.
That's correct.
In Northern Lehigh
game.
And now we have a player with no shirt on who needs the shirt for the rest of the day.
He wanted the shirt, and that's why
That's why he had this game. He knew the shirt was on the line during this game. He wanted the shirt, and that's why he gave us that performance.
Our D11sports.com player of the game is Asher Smith. 3 touchdowns, 1 of 17, 1 of 1, and 1 from 48. Now has 24 rushing touchdowns on the season. That will do it from Penn Argyl Alumni Stadium. Thanks to Anthony and Jaden Sparrow, Dave Micah, and Matt Avancho, and next week a matchup between in the East Penn Conference where we go with Liberty and Whitehall. That one on a Friday night at Bethlehem Area School District Stadium. That will do it for this afternoon. Final score once again 46-6. I'm Al DiCarlo. So long for now.